today are called, oh, good. Thank you telling me there's a recording in process. Are called aspects. Now they appear in every verb. They're not tenses. They can take different tenses. So they are something different from what we're used to with European languages. There are 5 of them, and I'm going to discuss 4 of them because one of them, the imperative, involves a lot of change in the word. So I thought, stick with the basics here. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Going to begin with what is called the stative, which is about being in a state. It works that way, right? It is the one that is the most common. It often takes the form E. And it's different from the others in that in the pronominal prefixes, it often takes the patient, which is a subject then, but is usually an object. All right, so I'm just going to go through the examples I have here. Any questions, let me know. And okay, so there are 5 conjugations in Wendat, as in all Iroquoian languages, to my knowledge. And they are determined by the pronominal prefixes. So the forms they take in the pronominal prefixes determine what conjugation they are. Okay, the A conjugation. I have this word ayatati. Now I've bolded one of the sounds here because in pronunciation of the language, they typically stress the second last syllable. Right? It's typical. So I thought I'd do that. Now, ayatati, I am talking, I am speaking, which is true, right? It's kind of saying I am in a talking state. Me and talking are together. Now, the first part is the pronominal prefix, then the verb root to talk. And in this case, the stative aspect doesn't have a form on its own. It just follows what's there in the verb. It doesn't always take a form. All right? So you understand where I'm going there. Now, the stative has a particular past suffix that it takes. So, which is typically ne. So, ayatatane, I was talking, I was speaking. That ne adds the notion that it's past. The other aspects, well, not all the aspects have a past tense, but the others that do take a different form. All right. Now the next one I want to talk about, it's one of the consonant conjugation. Okay. And the consonant conjugation is by far the most common one. When in doubt, think it's in the consonant conjugation, which means the root typically begins with a consonant rather than a vowel. The others begin with vowels. Some of them do so. So here we have, you are writing. You are writing. And it's the verb to write. Nothing is added to it. Okay, and so it's pronounced sahyaton. Sahyaton.
Sayaton.
Yeah, and it takes the. Oh, and when you see a vowel followed by an N, that generally means that the vowel is a nasal one. They have a lot of nasal vowels, right? Unlike English. So, sahyaton, you are writing. All right. Now, to make that past, you do the same thing you did with the other one. You add ne, right? So ne is the other one.
Na.
Yeah, right.
Sa.
So sa
Na.
sahyatone, you were writing. This is something you were doing at the time being discussed. All right. So it's highly regular. It's what's nice. One thing nice about Wendat is it's highly regular. There are some exceptions, but generally. Now, using the verb root, meaning he is thinking, remembering, reflecting. This is the third conjugation known as the E conjugation, although the E is pronounced A, like in the Canadian expression A, right? Fits with that. All righty. So he is thinking, remembering, reflecting. He is this word here. Haweshe randi. So it's a little bit complicated to say. Now here, the verb root begins with a vowel. So the ha form for he puts a W in between. You can't have two of these vowels together, right? So it's Hawesh Herandi. Hawesh Herandi. Right? The W has to be there because they need that break between the two vowels. And then to make it past, again, you add ne. You add ne to it to make it a past. So it's pronounced Hawesh Dine. Right? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yes, okay.
I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot at once, but I just want to say, okay, this is how you construct your typical verb, and most words are verbs. By far, most words are verbs, and verbs are often a sentence by themselves. They need, we have verbs, we have nouns, and what we have we have other things that are called particles, which just add some meaning to it, but but nouns not as common. None of these verbs I'm discussing today has a noun in it. Okay, so the next one is the verb to be compassionate, to have understanding, right? So Otari, she has compassion, is exhibiting passion, compassion, right? So it's, and because the vowel, because the verb ends with a vowel, you don't have to add a vowel for the stative, right? Because it ends with a vowel, you just include it. Oh, wait, no, that's sorry. So that's no, it does. Yeah, the vowel is added. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line. So there is, yeah, the E is added. And like I said, the E at the end, written with an I, is very common.
Singular tension.
Okay. So the next one, she had compassion, is talking, of course, about a past time, a past state for her. So Otarian there adds the ne, which is, of course, the past aspect suffix. All righty. Now, that's the fourth conjugation. And the fifth one is the O conjugation, right? The root begins with an O sound. So it's the verb here to season. I chose these verbs because these are the ones that are found in Pierre Poche's dictionary of the dictionary and grammar of the language, which is the best single thing written in the language. I worked with some scholars from Belgium talking about his grammar, which is really kind of interesting. I got to travel to Belgium, and it's funny, they were the ones that speak the Dutch dialect, and do they ever make fun of the Dutch? If you want a Dutch joke, talk to somebody from Belgium. They'll have it, right? But I love the country. I love being in there. You know, it's great. Anyway, so there is a book coming out about his grammar that was published. I think there's 4 of us that are co-authors. So anyway, I always like to push my books. Now, so to season, right? The verb root is orit. She is seasoning something, adding a seasoning to it. Is aoriti. Aoriti. The she part is the that's added. That is one of the typical sounds for that particular prefix, right? And like I said, it's the feminine zoic prefix, which includes females, obviously, animals and objects, right? So here it's clearly a female human, right? And the E is added to add the idea of being in a state. Now, the next one is the past, adding the past to it. Aoritini, tini, tina. Yeah, aoritina. Yeah, so you get the rhythm. You know, being a drummer, I find it's easier for me to understand because it's got a particular rhythm. You know. Now, here's the hard part. I have questions. What is the meaning of the first word, do you think? If you've got the sheet in front of you, what is now, the H, look for a word that begins with H and you'll be able to translate this. And you know the end is the past and the middle is the verb. So we've got past, we've got something that begins with H, and we have the verb to be compassionate. So what does the word mean? Drum roll.
Past.
See that. It's in the state of, it's in the past.
Okay.
The verb to be compassionate. So what is, when you look at the earlier examples, what begins with H? Or the earlier example?
Yeah, it's
He,
I'm sorry. He, yes.
he
Yes.
is compassionate or something like that. No,
Yeah. He had compassion.
he had compassion. Yeah.
Right. Because it has the past, it has the verb to be. And so when you see that H at the beginning, H is a masculine marker.
Yeah.
You see that at the beginning of a word or near the beginning of the word, you know, they're talking about a man or men or a group of people that are mixed, right? The H is the clear marker.
Okay.
Now, the other one I wrote incorrectly, I noticed when I was going through my notes this morning. Take the A off and look what, and the verb, of course, is to season. So what is the pronoun there?
So it's begin with an S.
Yes. So this, now, yeah, okay.
So you, would it be you?
Yes, yes. So the whole word is?
Let me see. You are seasoning something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you are seasoning something, right? You see it just, and you know, doing it as a 3-part thing, you learn to do it with 3-part. Okay, and the last one, now I gotta see if the earlier example included something that began with a Y. No, it didn't. Bad example. But by process of elimination, what do you think the Y is? It's not female, it's not male. It's not you.
Could it be I?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're right.
Mhm.
So the whole word is,
I have compassion.
yeah, I am exhibiting, I have compassion.
I am in a state of
Yeah,
compassion.
yeah, that's the way I am, right? That,
Yeah.
you're saying this is the way I am, right? Good, good. Now, I think this is probably harder. Just got to check something here. This could be difficult. Actually, no, it might not be. So how do you say he is seasoning something? First of all, what means masculine?
Okay. H.
That's right. That's right.
Um,
So, and just to help you with it, the next letter is an A. Because in this case, two vowels can go together, an A followed by an O. So it's ha, and what is the rest?
Haritinen or no?
No, because
No.
that's past. We're
That's
talking about the
past,
present.
okay.
Yeah, we're talking about the present.
Okay.
Maybe just a let me see, oriti.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Ha-oriti, right? He is seasoning something. You could, yeah, because when you see she is seasoning something, it has the A followed by the O. In this case, you just add the A to it.
Okay.
Now, we have for you have compassion. Now, do I have? Yeah, okay. You have
Yeah.
compassion. It begins
You-
with a s.
Sa, sa.
Yeah, it begins with a sa.
Mhm.
So,
Now, the vowel here is going to be a little confusing, so I'll add it. The vowel is eh, so it begins with sa, and how does it end?
Passion. Oh, it's here. Mm.
So just add the verb and the state of to that, and you'll get the word.
she's writing. You have compassion.
Sauriti.
So-
Does it work to have the A and the O?
No, it begins with sa.
Sa.
Satin.
Yeah, so satin and then
Satin.
and what was that?
Oh, Sauten.
No, it's sa.
Sa.
Satin.
And how does it end?
Tenri.
Yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
Santanri.
Yeah, satinary. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's how it ends.
And you don't pronounce like N, E-N, like N?
No, it's
Just
just
it's more
telling you, it's nasalizing the vowel.
Okay.
Right. I'm using the Jesuit writing because I always use the Jesuit writing, because I understand it, and it's practical,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and
I wanted to know if the N was pronounced very clearly, like in 10. No, it isn't. Okay.
no, it's just,
Mhm.
it can be if you have two N's in a row,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
otherwise not.
It's
No.
gonna be, yeah.
Yeah, if it
Okay.
comes after a vowel, it's
Mhm.
just saying this vowel, like in Ontario.
Yeah, yeah. So
All
it's
right.
nasal, but not with a full N.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You got it. You're on it. Good stuff.
Okay.
Great. All right. And the last one. Sorry, you had a question?
Yes, I have a question. I see that there are stative aspects, but it's rendered in English by the progressive form.
Yeah, but it's just saying I'm doing. There's a doing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
doing or
So-
being. It's doing or being.
And it's
It's a state you're in, or whoever is referred to is in.
okay. Yeah, it's I see that it is the progressive form in English, but
Yeah.
in French you will have the present right away.
Yeah, so it works better in
Mhm.
French.
Thank you.
Okay, now the last one. She is writing.
She is writing.
Okay,
She,
so what's it gonna begin with?
it's O.
Yes. Okay,
Okay. She,
and then with this particular verb,
writing.
She, oh,
It's writing. Oh, she, yeah.
yeah, hiaton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hiaton.
Hainan. No, that's the past. That is past.
Yeah, so no, you don't have
She-
the extra, so it's just hiaton.
oh,
Hiaton.
yeah, Tom.
Okay.
She is writing.
Oh, yeah, Tom.
Hiaton.
Hoyaton.
Oh, yeah, Tom.
This is good for me. I don't often get a chance to say the language, you know.
Uh-huh.
Usually I just say it in my head, right? But I don't talk to anyone in the language, so.
Oshiaton.
Yeah.
Ohiaton.
Hiaton. Yeah, the
Okay.
HIA is hia.
So the N, it's like the French nasal. Oh, yeah, Tom.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I say, because the Jesuits were French,
Yeah, yeah.
spoke French, so obviously they're going to use the model that they used to. They use Latin too, but it kind of messes things up. But they use that for explaining things,
Mhm.
which was problematic for me, never having taken Latin in school.
Mhm.
And it's okay, what is that? And the people I worked with from Belgium, they were Latin scholars, right? So they helped fill that stuff in for me. So I didn't, oh yeah, is that what it is in Latin?
John, I have a semantic question about hiaton.
Yeah.
To write. It should be a recent word in Wandat.
Well, yes, you're right. It originally meant to mark.
To mark. Okay.
Mark. And
Okay.
so, for example, if you want to talk about a piece of writing or writing generally, you would say hiaton sha,
Okay.
and the sha makes it a noun.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
there are names in the language that involve that verb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, because there are things, of course, the meanings are going to expand as their universe expands. And once the thing closest to it was marking, which they did. I mean, they had art, they had symbols to indicate particular things. So it's not really that different from writing, I would say.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the stative. And now the habitual. Now, this is something that's often used for a person's occupation. When they were referring to the French men who had particular occupations, they would use the habitual. So, for example, for a blacksmith, they would call him Oquistandiha, which means he often makes metal,
Mhm.
right? Because the word for metal is an interesting one because it refers to a lot of things. It refers to hard objects generally, and it became the word for metal. It probably only originally referred to copper because they had access to copper, as did many indigenous people. Okay. All right. So, and then if someone were a doctor or a medicine man of some sort, they would call him Hatse Sans, which is he often heals, he often cures, which was in the language before they just extended it to European doctors. But it's just, and then for the word for builder, and now Xianjia, using the word for house. So it means he makes houses. He makes houses. So they had a lot of terms, you know, they right away, the occupational names were easy because he just said, what does he do? He does this. Okay. Right. So, and the habitual is fairly common. Okay. And is typically translated as often or regularly. So the first example we have here, cha chak.
Yeah.
I often talk. I regularly talk, which works for me because I do.
Huh.
We have the Y for A again, atiati, yeah, to talk. And then here we're using the AK. AK is often used in the habitual. The S is probably the most common, but the AK or just ha or ah is often used as well, different markers. So it's, yeah, cha, chak.
Uh-huh.
All right. So you can see that now the habitual also has a past suffix. The aspect suffix for it is typically AK, but not always. It's typically AK. So I often talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yatatiahak. I often talked. The in this word means often, and the ak is the past. So you often see this combination as, in that way, right? So tatiahak, I often talked, or I often spoke.
John,
Yeah.
if we see the first one, ya, sia, tak, you don't have ha, ah for often. Is there a mistake?
No, I just did that for the sound. Just
Okay.
yeah, no, it's not written. It's not written in there. I just
Okay, I see.
yeah, it just because I wanted to say it's the same as the thing that came before it.
Okay,
It adds a
okay, I
K to it. No, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but
Okay.
So
yeah.
it's the phonetic transcription.
Yeah, it is. It is a very phonetic transcription.
So it's different than the writing itself. It makes sense.
Yeah,
It's usually like that.
yeah.
Okay.
And now for so that's for the A conjugation. And now for the consonant conjugation, you often write. And what we have here is shehiatonk. Shehiatonk.
She.
The she is you.
She.
Again, the hiaton is to write. And here the habitual takes a K. It won't take an AK because you wouldn't put an A after a nasal vowel. If it were an A, you'd put a D between the two vowels. Anyway, but that's a little different there, but say so. Okay, so put it in the past. It's kind of a rhyming in a way. She xia tong honk. Yeah, she xia tong honk. Right. So when you have a nasal vowel, the habitual plus the aspect, the past, they're both gonna take that nasal vowel. One of the sound rules of the
That's
language.
interesting.
Okay, and now for
Tonk,
the
tonk.
next one, for reflect or think. Now, being a masculine form, you begin it with an H. Ejieras. Ejieras. So you just add the H to it because that's all that's necessary, because H is the masculine. And that's the first one now that uses the S that you so commonly find with verbs taking the habitual. Okay, and now when you make it a past, with a past, you use the English phrase used to. It's something you did in the past. Doesn't mean that you don't do it now. It just means in the past you did it. All right, so it's Ejierasqua. Ejierasqua. He used to often think, he used to often reflect. And here, the W is put in there, as it is sometimes when you have a K followed by a vowel. Not always, but sometimes. All righty. Okay. Now, oops, the compassion one. Now, Yatara, she often has compassion. She is compassionate. Here, the she form, which is a Y, and the verb begins with a Y. There's no added, there's nothing added to the root in that part. So you have the feminine, and you have the agent this time too, which is interesting, instead of the patient form. And then the ha just means, of course, often, habitual. Yeah, terra, she often has compassion. She often is compassionate. Okay, so now the next one. Now, orita, you don't pronounce the TH as like a z sound. They don't have a z sound, but it's a T followed by an H.
Okay.
Orita. Yeah, see, so it doesn't have the. She often seasons her food. Okay, and again, because it begins with an O, and an O is often a feminine prefix, it just stays it is. The feminine prefix adds nothing. There isn't one that specifically marks that. You just know when you see it, oh, it's feminine because it begins with an O. And then, of course, it ends with the ha, often. Sounds like somebody's drowning. All right. All right. Now for the hard stuff. Shihyaswa. Now, this has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to it. So you just, okay, what's the first part? What is the she?
Is it you?
Yes, yeah, it's you. So it begins with the you.
And it's the verb to think, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
so it's she here. And
Yeah.
what are the next 2 parts?
Is it a usual, like used to? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is used
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
The S is the habitual, and the qua is the past marker, the aspect suffix.
So
Alright.
is it she or he?
So okay, we're doing that first one. It's the first one is you, right?
It's you. Sorry.
Choose to think, reflect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you.
You used to think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So a sh or a s sound.
Okay.
is
Is
you.
the you? Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I was also wondering if you have somebody who, if you say of somebody that he often writes, that it could be the word for the writer, to say
Yeah,
of
it
someone
could be.
that
Yeah,
he's a writer.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It would be.
In line with what you said about the occupations and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
It's a A verb can indicate. We use nouns to indicate occupations. They use verbs to
Yeah.
indicate
Okay.
occupations.
That's great. Thanks.
Because verbs rule in this language.
Mhm.
Verbs rule. Nouns are relatively unimportant. All right. So the next one.
For the verb,
Okay, so it begins with an H, which means
E.
key. That's right.
and
Okay, and the verb
Eaten. You often have compassion, or you
almost.
Often had compassion.
Had, that's right.
often had. Yes.
That's right. He often had compassion. Right?
Okay.
Because you have he,
compassion.
you have compassion, you have the HA of the habitual, and the K of the past marker.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's hard stuff, huh?
Yeah. Well, well, once you learn how to build a verb,
Yeah.
it becomes a lot easier, because that's what you have to do when you want to say
Yeah.
something in Wendat. You have to build a verb.
Yeah. Oh, I see. It's
Yeah.
challenging, but it's
Oh, it is,
interesting.
because it's different. It's different from what we're used to,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and Tahak, so it's a he. Yeah.
yeah. And just think of H, he, right? Works.
Okay.
So systems.
How would you say she often writes?
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So how would you write the she? I gotta check. One of the dogs is getting into something. I just gotta check.
Okay. Huh. She.
He is a yen.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yatong. Yatong. Yatong.
Because my wife's not a dog. I thought it was a dog sound because it sounded like a dog getting into something. Rustling of paper, right? You get overly sensitized to that.
She often-
So the she is,
The she is not a e. Yeah.
She.
yeah, the she is
E. Yeah.
as in,
It's yen.
yeah,
No.
it's not yeah,
No.
maybe.
Yenten. No.
Okay, no, it's, yeah, this is a little bit problematic. I just realized. It's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the female marker is usually has a Y. But I
Okay.
didn't have
Oh
in the
yeah, yeah.
previous example. Oh, yeah, when you, yeah. It
Yeah.
isn't so much marked in some of the others,
She.
but
often
yeah,
writes.
so, yeah. And then what's the final, what's,
So the
so
verb is
there's
yeah. Yeah.
yaton, the verb is yaton.
Yaton.
Yeah, and what is the aspect marker?
The K.
Yeah, the k.
The
So,
cat.
yeah,
Cat.
so the whole word is
Yeah.
yeah, yaton,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yaton,
Tonk,
yaton.
with a K at the end, eh?
Yeah, with the K, because the K
Yeah.
is marking the habitual there.
Yaton.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Tom. Yeah. Okay. I see.
But I'm sorry, John, I don't
Yeah.
understand the she,
Well, the she form, like I'm just,
because
I'm just
I
gonna look,
see, I see, she often has compassion. The
yeah.
she is a yen, yeah. Why?
Yeah,
Why?
that, well, you see, the Y is there already, given the
Oh, I
verb.
see, I see. Okay,
So it doesn't add the Y because it has a Y.
okay, okay.
I mean, in some kind of logic, it should be,
Yeah.
but it isn't, because it begins with a Y anyway.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah.
changed. It's not changed.
But,
Right? It's all set.
Okay.
Now, I often season, for me, particularly with salt.
mhm.
Okay.
But she is problematic because sometimes if you have she often season, then you have orit she.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
because the
problem.
O
Oh,
Yeah.
is, because the O is a female marker too.
Okay, that
O
it's
can be,
also
the ya can, or the
okay.
yas that can be, yeah, it is problematic. It is
Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah.
it's A as well.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
a number of things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's make it quite challenging. Yes.
Yeah, oh, it does. It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every language has those little things, right, that don't make any sense. With English, it's primarily the spelling that doesn't make any
Yeah. Yeah.
sense. Not at all.
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
I often season begins with,
And
Okay.
why?
does it begin with?
A Y?
Yes, it begins with a Y. Now, so the Y is the I. Orit is the vowel for, that is, sorry, is the verb for season. And how does it end?
Ha.
Ha. It ends with a ha. Ha. Right? It ends with a ha. Because that's the habitual. So it begins with the ya of I. The second part is the orit of the verb root, and the ha is the habitual. Right? So we have the three parts of these words. All right. Any questions about that one? Okay. And now for the punctual suffix. Now, the punctual suffix appears with three different prefixes, one of which has to be there. It appears with three different pre-pronominal prefixes. I'm going to use the one that I'm going to use. Hey, that was the big dog.
Mhm.
Obviously, he hears something. He's well known in the community because if anybody passes our house, there's a barking, particularly if someone is with a dog. You know, he takes that as a personal insult. Okay, so it appears with the future, which is an A sound. It appears, and I'm going to give two examples of that here, or one example of each, with the factual. The factual means has just, right? So if you add the factual at the beginning of a word, it means has just happened within recent, you know, within recent, very recent memory. So it's like it's a past that means just happened, like the dog just barked. I would have used the word for bark there, and that would have fit right in. That would have used the factual. And then there's the optative, and I'm giving one example of that. And it typically means would. He would do that. She would do that. I would do that. You would do that, right? Would. But what I'm going to talk about with this example is the future. Right? So the future is marked with an E sound or an A sound.
Mhm.
So this would be yatacha.
Yeah.
Talk. I will talk.
Yeah. Touch.
It's both intent and prediction. Right? Intent and prediction. If you're answering the question, what do you think will happen? You use the punctual and the future.
So
And
John, it means that it's the immediate future? It's not,
yeah, well, no,
in-
yeah, it means relative short-term future.
Okay.
Relative short-term future. Now, and okay, so this first word here we have A meaning will, ya meaning I, atate to meaning talk, and the punctual is marked with an a. So I will talk. Now, I just gave the other examples here. If that had began with an A, it would be I just talked, because that would be the factual.
Mhm.
And if I said ayatate, it would be I would talk, because it's talking about hypothetical future.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sophisticated language, yes.
Oh.
They have a lot of, you know, it's so different. I know when my first exposure to indigenous languages, I had to get over my feeling of language must be like this.
Mhm.
It was good. It's always been exciting because I learn a lot of things with the language. You know, I always like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Can you just explain the phonetic difference between 1A and 2A. Like, just say again, in Wandat, I just talk and I would talk, just that.
Okay, the difference as far as I know is vowel length.
Okay,
Between ah and ah. It's
okay,
not because they would put an H in between.
okay,
So it's a short vowel, long vowel distinction.
So,
okay.
c'est la même chose là.
It's you have to have a very good ear to make
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Which fortunately Brebeuf had.
John, the past is AA.
The past for,
For I would, sorry, I would talk. No,
Yeah.
that's hypothetic, this one.
It's,
I just talk. Oh, yeah.
I just talked, yeah, the ah is the factual,
okay. I
which
just-
says recent past. Says recent
Okay,
past.
it's the,
Yeah. It's different. It's a different distinction than we usually make.
okay. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay, and now for you will write. The A, of course, begins it, and that means well. The she is you, second person singular. And there's no marker that indicates it's punctual, but when you see that, you know it's punctual because all of the other aspects would add something. But because this one doesn't add something, pretty much all the other aspects, because it doesn't, it has the future and it doesn't have anything after it, then you know it is generally the future. The punctual aspect is implied.
Mhm.
Now, ehe hiaraha is he will think. The A sound begins. Hey is a combination of
Okay.
the pronominal prefix for him. Then there's the verb, and then there's the punctual. So we have, you know, the four parts: a, will, he, hijera, think, ha, punctual. All together, he will think. So there's four Lego parts.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So for these aspects, the punctual is before the pronoun.
No, the punctual is at the end. The A is a
Yes,
is
yes.
a
I mean,
modal pre-pronominal prefix. Is a modal prefix. All right.
yeah, I
So
mean future, yeah. So it's before the pronoun here.
yeah, the future marks.
Yeah,
Future marks. The future must come before the pronoun. Right? The future must. And now he will think. Anyway, I think I just dealt with that one. So anyway, it begins with the future marker, adds the H for he, the vowel. Well, yeah, I did. The verb root is next, and the ha ends it. Yeah, four-part word. Okay. Now the next one is as it has four parts in it, but it only has two visible things, right? So she will have compassion. The A at the beginning is the future.
Mm.
that yatanra is a combination of
Mhm.
the she form, which is a Y, the verb root is yatanra. So, and the punctual as well. There's nothing added for the punctual. There's nothing added for the, the female pronominal prefix.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a short word.
Mhm.
Only
Mm.
two visible parts,
Yatanra.
but four meanings.
Well, get she to have.
Yeah.
She was.
So it just saying she will. Yeah.
He's trying to
And
learn.
Angie's driving away and he's complaining. Ross, shut it.
Okay.
Never get a Labradoodle if you want silence.
Uh,
He is the loudest dog we've ever had. We've had a lot of dogs. He's the loudest. Okay, so for the last one then, we have, again, two parts, but four meanings, and four significations in it.
She will.
A for will,
Okay.
for will. Orit means she, plus to season, plus the punctual.
Okay. Hey, will.
Right, so eorit, sorry, eorit, she will season.
To see.
So the punctual has nothing that just marks it, and the feminine zoic singular agent has nothing that specifically marks it. All right. So questions now. All right. All right. She will write.
She will write.
Okay.
Ish.
It has
Ish.
three things marking it. She will write.
Ish. Hmm.
So the beginning is
Hey,
A. A sound, yes.
A sound, yeah.
The next sound is
Right.
the feminine, which would be
Which would be
The feminine is an A? A?
no, because you can't have A follow an A. You can't have A.
Okay.
um,
Uh, About
is it
to write.
would it be ye?
Yes.
Why?
A ya. So it's
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
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 Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the rest would be just hiaton.
Yaton.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yaton. Yaton.
because there's no marker for specifically for the punctual aspect.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
It's really complex, I'm telling you.
Yeah, but yeah, you get used to it. I mean, it was neat for me. I mean, my introduction to the language, I was
Yeah.
a research assistant for the person who was trying to make a book out of what Marius Barbeau wrote in his exposure to Wyandotte. And my previous exposure to indigenous languages was Ojibwe. And I was moved by the fact that the elder that taught me, he had lost his language
Mhm.
because he went to residential school,
Mhm.
and his grandmother retaught the language to him.
Grandmother,
That was very emotional for him. So I thought,
Mhm.
if one person feels so emotional about that, what about an entire, and then our entire First Nation, right? And so I learned that Wendat had lots written in it. The Jesuits wrote some of the best dictionaries in the world for any language, better than English. In the 17th and 18th century, the dictionaries and grammars of Wendat were better than the dictionaries and grammars in English. I've seen 17th century dictionaries of English and they're horrible. I've seen 18th century ones and they're horrible. They hardly have any words. But for Wendat, so incredibly complete, right? So I thought, okay, I'll learn it. And okay. So all right. So will talk.
He will talk.
Okay, you know the first one now. That's easy.
A.
Okay. Now, what will the masculine form be? What will it begin with?
A.
A.
H, no.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. H.
H,
Yes.
okay.
And the verb root would be
Would be
Hey.
at,
Tati.
atiati.
atati. Yeah, atati.
Ati.
Okay, so we have
Oh, yeah.
A, H, atati, and what would be the marker of the punctual? Because there is one.
Ah.
Ah. So the whole word is
Ah.
ahatatia. Ihatatia. A, atati, and ah.
Yeah.
So it has 4 parts.
Yeah.
Speak. Okay.
And the next one uses the same verb. You will speak or you will talk. Now the will, of course, is A. What is the you? You singular.
Use.
Yes.
Is it she?
Yeah. She.
She.
Yeah,
She.
so it's she. And the next 2 parts are the same as for the last word.
She.
Yeah.
So a sha.
Tatya.
Yeah, that's right. A sha tatya. Right? You will speak or you will talk.
So here 2 vowels ah and ah can stay together.
Yeah, the in the when there's context in which the can and the they can go together, particularly after a T. It's kind of a cha there. If I think about it, yeah, it's more a cha. Tia. So it's more a Y than an I there. Cha. Yeah. And then in Wyandotte, it would be kya, right? But not teaching Wyandotte.
So what would be the spelling of that word?
Well, if you want, I would spell it
Yeah.
ECHIA
H.
TATIA, but you could put
T.
ATIA.
A she talks.
T-I-A. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right, now the next one, of course, it begins. Did we do this one? No, I guess not. All right, begins with the A. It has the U marker, has a verb, and has the, so there are 4 things, and there's 4 parts to this.
So it's the verb to write.
Nope.
Orit.
Yaton is to write, no?
So that was, we did that one, the next one.
Orit.
Oh, the
Which
next
one are
one.
we doing?
Oh, okay, okay.
Which one are we doing, John?
Oh, we're doing Eshishiaha. Sorry.
Okay,
I see, okay.
okay.
Okay, Eshiten, no?
Okay, if you want to do Eshishia, well, so we didn't
It's
do the one.
to think, no? It's the word to think. That.
Yes, it is the verb to think.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
And there are three other parts.
Okay,
Will, it's will, so it's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's two more.
You,
Aha.
you,
Mhm.
I will continue to.
to you,
It's
you will,
And so what is?
you will
you
think.
will, that's right. You will think.
you will think.
Yeah, and the HA, of course, is punctual aspect.
And the last part is
The last part is ha for the punctual aspect.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's good.
It,
Yeah.
it, it means you will think like just now kind of thing.
And you will think in the future, probably a fairly near future, close future.
So it's both the marker for the future and for the punctual
Um,
at either end of the word.
well, no,
No?
yeah, the A is the future,
Yeah.
the ha is the punctual.
Okay. So it's marked like twice, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
will think.
One
That's
tells
good.
you, okay, this is the modal as opposed to or ah,
Mhm. Uh-huh.
and the other end is this is what aspect it is.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Mhm.
Okay, that's good. So
It starts to make
it's
sense.
it's
after a while.
morphological. It's a morphology.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the Slavic languages. That's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they mark the aspects.
Yeah,
French is so complicated in comparison. It's very complicated
yeah,
French.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I think if you sort of compared languages for how complicated they are,
Yeah, yeah,
it would be interesting.
that's good. Mhm.
Okay, now the last one there. Ahorit. Okay. Now this is kind of sneaky because I noticed I put in the factual at the beginning. The is the factual. Now, what is the pronominal prefix? H.
They- Or he.
Yes. And the verb,
Season.
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 And so it only has three visible parts. And what does it mean?
Mm,
She's seasoning. She's seasoning.
He.
He.
Oh,
So
he.
he's just doing it. He's just
He
seasoned.
just seasoned, like he just did it a
Just
short
did it.
time
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah, yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question because I see the other aspect is the purposive, but normally if you have a punctual aspect, you have also durative accent.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, this is the purpose of means to continue or to be on the way to,
Okay.
right? So it has, yeah, the names are indicate
Continue.
a different thing than they would in another language. Okay.
So-
Let's see how far
And
we-
Peter was mentioning the durative aspect. Durative.
Well, the aspects are stative, habitual, punctual, purposive, and when you give an order, give a command or you
Yeah,
suggestion.
imperative.
Yeah, imperative. Sorry, I don't know why.
So
I'm not
this
doing
one,
the imperative today. It's too messy.
this one is the purposive purposive can be assimilated to the durative.
Mhm.
C'est ça, je crois.
Ouais.
Yeah, so it just means intention or prediction or on the way to do something.
Ah.
So it has a kind of, it appears with the future. Okay? It appears with the future,
Mhm.
but it's more predictive or intention or on the way to do something. It's
I
quite,
see.
it appears in a lot of words.
Mhm.
All right. So here we have, I will continue to speak. I'm on the way to speaking. We have the future there. We have the Y for I. We have atati, to speak. And then we have, see, one thing that it usually appears with is called the dislocative, which means, as you see here, motion away. Like it's like away into the future. So we're going to get words with 5 parts here. The longest words yet. So you have future, you have first person singular agent, you have verb root, you have dislocative root suffix, and you have purposes, 5 parts. Purposive, sorry, 5 parts. So it is complicated. It is more complicated than the others. Now, with the next one, you will continue to write, or you're on the way to writing. You're just about to write. Again, future. She, for you. J'attends, to write. D here, meaning the dislocative. And then the E at the end, meaning purposive. So, j'attendais. You will continue to write. You are on your way to writing. My wife would say that to me if I was headed towards my computer. She would know. All right, any questions about that one? Wait, I can't hear you.
Yeah. So the difference between this future and the other future is the fact this one is like you say model, but in the way of expressing continuity.
Yeah, it's talking
Okay.
about prediction.
Yeah. So
Prediction. Yeah, so this one is prediction. Yeah, you know.
it's prediction. So it
Yeah,
has
so it's
that.
different that way. Yeah, and that's why it's
that
called the
way.
purposive. It's saying, okay, they're doing something with a purpose. That's
Okay.
why they
Okay.
gave it that name.
Good. Thank you.
Now, the third example, again, 5 parts. The future, the masculine singular agent, the root, the dislocative, and the purposive.
I don't know which example, John. I'm totally
Oh,
lost.
sorry, the third one of the purposive.
Okay.
Hiérarche.
Yeah, Rache.
Je suis perdue complètement dans ce que. Je vois pas de quel
C'est le troisième, Marie-Christine.
Mais lequel?
He
Tu vois,
He will
c'est
continue to think. Is that?
You will
he will
continue.
continue to
He will
think.
continue to think.
Mais moi, j'ai pas ça.
Mais oui, ici.
C'est celui-là?
C'est
OK.
ça.
Moi, c'est le premier sur ma feuille. OK.
Mais il devrait y en avoir 3 qui se suivent.
C'est
OK,
ça, il y en a
thanks.
3.
Thanks.
Now, the last page. And again, the 2 examples, 5 parts. Future, predominant prefix, verb root, dislocative, purposive. All right, so 5 parts. Again, will, then in this case, it's, well, actually, it's only 4 parts in that way because the she doesn't add anything to it. Because it begins with a Y, it's accepted as being she. So it's she plus have compassion, the second part.
So
Yeah.
you are in the, I'm sorry, it's me who is lost. Okay, I am lost. So it is the, which one? She will continue to have compassion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sorry. All right, so again, there are 4 elements in it, but this time there's only 4 indicators because the Y is functioning both as part of a verb root and as a feminine pronominal prefix.
And John, can you explain again what's the dislocative root suffix? Because I missed.
Okay, the
few-
dislocative root suffix
Yeah.
means away, motion away.
Okay.
Away.
Yeah. So it's sort of saying it's adding that sense to it, you know, and it really yeah, it doesn't add much, but it does add something.
Yeah. Okay. So it's,
I translate it usually as motion away or as
okay.
time away
Okay.
or
Okay.
something like that. But the away sense is
Meaning that the action is going to continue
yeah,
over time?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
the away is the different time.
Okay. Which is different from just saying she will have compassion, then that's,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
just okay at some time, at some point, you know,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
and it's not as strongly predictive as this is.
Okay, so this is more predictive.
Oh, yeah, this is,
Uh-huh.
that's, you know,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
okay.
when you say this, there's a definite sense of
Clear
predicting.
projection.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
All right. And the last one. What time is it anyway? My clock isn't working on it.
Oh, it's almost, it's 12:21.
Okay, good. We've got time for this. I would, yeah, my clock for some reason isn't completely functioning. Okay. So she will continue to season, yeah. And again, we have 5 parts. We have 5 distinct parts. Will, the A is will, the Y is she, the orit is the verb root to season, and is the dislocative, that motion away, and then A at the end just means continue, right?
The aspect.
The aspect. that-
Interesting, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's quite different, and it's neat. I mean, I find that it creates an understanding for me that I wouldn't ever have if I hadn't studied the language, if I hadn't chosen to work on it.
Really, it's the fact that the aspect is marked at the end in a morphological way. It makes it so much easier. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really regular. For the classification
Yeah.
is much easier than what
Yeah,
we have in French, really.
Yeah, it is beautifully, you know, once you learn the construction of a verb, that opens up a huge door to the language.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So again, I say this word has the 5 parts. The Y is there because you can't have an E followed by an O. The and is there because you begin this with an A. Right? So she will continue to see them.
It's Heyera thinking. Oh, but she.
Yeah, sorry. No, she will continue to see them. Right?
Yeah, she.
All right. All right. So,
Alors, she, comment tu dis she?
okay, now the translating. Again, the hardest part. She will continue to think.
So,
What's going to be a problem here is for this word is that, yes, it begins with an A sound and an A sound for the verb root, but in between the two is a W because you can't have 2 A's. So it's EWE. And the second E begins the verb root.
Yeah.
All right. And the sh is the dislocative. And the A, of course, is the purposive. So it's A
Way.
with a W put in there just because of the sound combination. Doesn't have meaning. It just means, oh, there are 2 A's here. I got to put a W in between. And the echia is the verb root, I think. And the ash is the dislocative. And the A is the purposive.
Do you pronounce it a way?
Yeah,
A
A-way, A-way.
Ash.
Yeah. And ashe, and
excuse me, John, are you in the second or the first one? She will continue to think.
first one.
Oh, so think is Heyera.
Yeah,
Heyera.
it's a yeah.
And the she here, what is it?
The she here is not written.
Okay.
It's just, otherwise, yeah, it'd be too confusing. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the problem with these. Some of them that have something that isn't written.
Sure. It's punctual.
All right.
So the punctual in the feminine.
Well,
My dog is starting too. I hope he's not going to make noise. He's
yeah, because
downstairs, gosh.
mine is right here and he'll hear it. The big dog will hear it. Mind you, he's sleeping now. So
Wants attention.
yeah, oh yeah. They are attention grabbers. All right. And the second one, I will continue to have compassion.
Okay.
So again, it begins obviously with an A sound. Now here, I don't know whether done this before.
Alors celui-là, c'est le.
The second part is going to be a Y followed by an I, because the fourth conjugation can have the sound eh or yeah, or it can have the sound ye. Right. And in this case, it has the sound ye. So it's aye, and the verb root is that itora. The dislocative is the AND. You see that that's a common pattern with the
I
dislocative,
will
the
continue.
AND. And of course, the purposive is the A at the end. That's kind of complicated. I don't know why I included it. The third one is
Hey,
easier to translate.
speak.
Oh. Yes, Peter.
Oh, sorry, just it was just a noise from my
I will
computer.
All right,
continue.
okay.
So it's, I will continue to speak. That's what it is?
No, but it is, I will continue.
Oh, I will continue. So speak.
Oh, are
it's
you doing,
different.
is this the third one? I'm just so easily confused with different voices. Are you doing the third one? Or the second one?
I don't know which one we are doing. The third one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
So
it is
the only thing I'm kind of lost here with the so. I will continue, so speak, but because I will continue.
oh,
will
that
be-
should be to speak.
Oh, okay,
that's
to
a
speak.
foolish mistake on my
So
part.
it is yeya tanchante.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Ishiatatia.
Yeya tanchande,
Yeah, you will continue to speak.
to speak. Okay.
All right. Now, the first of the translations the other way. Now, you know the first two parts, right? The future and the masculine. The third part is the verb
Okay.
root.
Chande. Tende. Tende is this one.
Yeah, so we have future, masculine, verb root to season, dislocative, and purposive.
So he will continue to season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. 5 parts and the next one I neglected to end it with a DE. I don't know what I was thinking. Must have been the dog getting at me. All right. So the next word is EYEHIATONDE.
UNDE?
DE. Yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts for this one as well.
Yeah, that's a It's she will, no?
No,
I don't know, maybe I'm
what
wrong.
else takes the Y?
She,
I.
she,
Yeah, YE.
I will.
Yeah, YE is I. Yeah.
Mhm.
YE is I. So YA sound yay is I.
no, it's not that, it's, okay. So
Alrighty.
So it's the verb to write,
this
is
one
it?
Yeah,
is,
it's the verb to work.
Mhm.
it's a future,
And it has the purposive,
yeah.
so it's
Mm.
continue to.
So I will continue to write.
Okay. And the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts again. All right. So how will you translate it?
Is it the verb for having compassion?
Yes, it
Is
is.
10, that's yeah, sums it up. Okay.
Yes.
The whole word means
Mhm.
Issue.
The you,
you. Yeah,
It's
You
will
will.
you?
you will.
Will
will,
you will you will.
Now, the last two parts.
Qu'est-ce que
Mm.
c'est?
continue, decide this purposive or whatever, what's it
Yeah,
called?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You will continue to have compassion.
you will continue to have compassion. Okay,
You
wow.
you will.
In that one word, all of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, yeah. You only see this little word, but
Is it, yeah,
it has these parts. Like we,
yeah, it's crammed with
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, really
Whereas
is.
in European languages, it's stretched out into separate words.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have what, 1, 2 in English, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, and they have one. And that is the primary difference between any indigenous language and any European language, because I've been working a little bit
Issue.
in some of the Western indigenous languages, and they do so many things I'm familiar with. I look at it, I say, oh, of course they have that. So they're very, very, very similar. Even the ones that are not related, they do similar things. And building the verb
Ça,
is
c'est
the
le.
main thing.
Yeah, it's you, huh? It's you will. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you will continue to have compassion. Yes.
Very interesting, John. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
All right. So for the next class, what I have tentatively, I was thinking maybe doing the root suffixes, not all of them because there are 9. I thought, why don't we do 4 or 5 of the root suffixes? The root suffixes come right after the root and before the aspects.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, we'll take the 4 most common ones, and their meaning is straightforward, and they're very important. And usually, a verb has a root suffix in it. Usually.
And the root suffix, what is its function?
Well, it could be to add causation. Right, that's one of them, is causation. One of them, the strangest one, is what I call the undoer. It changes the meaning of the verb to its opposite.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Interesting.
Yeah, it took me a long time to understand that one, but once I learned, I said, okay. And
A kind of a trickster root suffix, is it?
yeah, it is. It's of all the root suffixes, it is the trickster. You've got it. It is
The
definitely
tricks.
the trickster. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go along with that completely. Yeah, it is a trickster. Every language has tricksters, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
this-
interesting because in French, if I compare, it's mostly it's to create it's associated with verb, but as well with the noun.
Yeah.
But not into the morphology itself
Yeah.
of the verb like that.
Yeah.
It's strange. It's really different.
Yeah.
The semantics aspect of
It's-
the verb.
And it's the building, like I say, it's the difference between beads on a string, European languages,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Lego parts, indigenous languages. And once you catch to that, and you say, okay, what's going into this, right? Then it becomes, it makes more sense. It makes more sense. All right, so next week, I'll pick four of the root suffixes, including the trickster, because the trickster is kind of fun. It's, you know, that's the one I gave the name to, because I couldn't think of, what do I call it? And okay, undoer sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything that in specific that you would like to learn about the language? You know, because I've been steering it all along, but I'm happy to teach any aspect of the language. Ha ha ha.
I mean, what you're going to teach us next week is pretty interesting.
It's important too. It's important to the language.
Yeah.
It's another one of the verbal parts.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah,
the verb is the most
it's,
important thing, and it's an important part of the verb, it's, you know, it's key.
Well, it's good. We learn how to work. At least we get an idea of how the language works.
yeah, that's amazing.
That's the idea.
I'm amazed to see that the verb can have, during its conjugation, if I understand, it has a
Yes.
suffix.
Yeah.
Before his verbal flexion,
Yeah.
before the flexion, before the ending.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's,
Mhm.
it is new.
Okay.
But it also gives you, as I say to people, it also gives you ideas of what the other indigenous languages are like. You know, like I've done I wrote a book called White Lies About the Inuit. And one part I talked about how Inuit constructs long words. And one reason why people, non-Inuit speakers, have foolishly said, oh, there's all these terms in snow for snow, you know, like 52, 100, blah, blah. No, there are 7, but they're nouns and they go into a verb differently. So you can make like 20 terms for snow
Mhm.
based on one noun, but you construct it differently. You add different parts to it and it has a different meaning. But that shows the misunderstanding that European language speakers have about indigenous languages, that they thought, oh, look at them all, you know, and it was taught, it was in textbooks for years that there are all these terms for snow.
Mhm.
We have lots of terms for snow too, depending on how much we like or don't like them. We can put words before it that'll make that you'll learn what I feel about this snow.
That
Yeah.
would be interesting, John, to see how many words they have for snow.
Oh yeah, you can build a lot. You can build a lot. In my book, I build a few, and it's fun. I mean, my Inuktitut is not my special language, you know. But actually, the person who wrote this book on the structure of Inuktitut took some of my examples. I spent an afternoon at the Trent University Library with 6 dictionaries of Inuktitut to find out how many terms there actually were.
It's fascinating.
Oh, it is.
It's just that we don't need so many words for snow, probably, in comparison to them. It's all in context.
Yeah, because one of the very productive ones is a noun that means snow that's on the ground. And you can make many words out of using the element about snow on the ground. Like-
Mhm.
Snow on the ground is thick, snow on the ground is thin. One word for each of those.
Yeah, that's the beauty of language, huh?
Yeah.
So
It is.
creative and
It is. It shows as much as anything the creativity of the human mind.
yeah. So I guess I think we are done, huh?
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're done. So, and if you want to email me during the course of the week, I can give you my email address. If you have a thought or
Oh,
a
that's
question.
that would be nice, John.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Because you know what, it's so the conception of the aspect itself, it's so sensitive. And I personally, I would say just in French, just to teach it in French, it's an adventure.
That would be an adventure to teach that in French. It's enough of an adventure to teach it in English. In French,
Yeah.
woof, woof.
So,
Okay, so my email address is JLS, and those are my initials, then HECHON,
H-E, yeah.
HECHON. That's my Wandat name. It was the
Oh, I
same.
Econ.
see.
It's the same
Econ.
name. Echon.
Yeah.
Echon.
Echon,
It was,
Echon.
yeah, it was given to Brébeuf.
To
because
Brébeuf, I know,
They tried
yeah.
to say Jean and they couldn't, so they, and to make it a
Really?
masculine name, they had to
That's
add an
fascinating.
H at the beginning, right?
Okay, John,
So,
you want,
okay,
you want,
okay, yeah, JLSHECHON at outlook.com.
okay, you know what? If you could use the chat, you know the chat there?
I'm not good with that.
No, you know, just
No.
click on it. Okay,
Yeah.
so GLSH,
JLS, John Lawson Steckley.
yeah,
HE,
SH,
JLS HECHON
CH, okay, okay,
at outlook.com.
okay, good. Thank you.
All right. So I'll see and hear from you next week or during the week, right? And I'll be choosing what root suffixes I'm going to do, including, it will include the trickster, right? You know that right away. The trickster will be there.
Oh, she
Great.
wrote it, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, John. Okay, Aurelia wrote it, you know. She just wrote, I just don't want to make a mistake in case I need that question. Yeah, I didn't make a mistake. It's fine. Merci,
Oh,
Aurelia.
good. Okay, good stuff. All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Merci.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bonne semaine.
C'est ça, bonne semaine.